Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen who are joining me live right here on a Facebook Live. My name is Krishangi Radhe, NLP mindset practitioner, timeline therapist, educator, life coach, public relations practitioner. And I'm so glad to be able to share a few minutes with you this afternoon or this evening right here in Durban, South Africa. It's just past 5:30 p.m. And we're talking about Mother's Day, or I'm going to expand on that. It's not really just going to be Mother's Day, but we're going to be talking about relationships, especially during this time of a very stressful time, a time period where the world is really being challenged in several ways. And tomorrow's happens to be in the midst of everything, in the midst of the pandemic. We are celebrating, or we are honoring our mothers tomorrow because it's Mother's Day. So I'm going to take a minute to just share this live video in the other groups that are expecting me to be going live right now so we can reach more people. And I'd also like to invite you to drop a comment and tell me who you are, who's watching with me this evening, and tell me whether you're a mom or whether you're a daughter or a son, or what is your relationship and how do you usually celebrate Mother's Day? Is it something that you do you do diligently, or is it something that you feel is far more commercialized? I'd love thank you for joining, Michelle. Always lovely to have you, and please do share this video. So let's get the word going, let's get it going on and sharing as we grow. And that's exactly the power of Facebook Live, which I've been doing as a part of my coaching practice for over a year now. And through the power of this live interaction, we are able to actually ask questions and have real-time answers. And that's the lovely interaction that I like to have during my coaching session. So welcome to this live, and please do share it. You're welcome to comment as we're going along, and you're welcome to ask questions also. This is what it's about. It will be saved on my timeline on my page, Sankalpa Coaching with Krishangi Radhe, and you can then catch the replay. Please just drop me a hashtag replay so I know that you've caught the replay also. Okay, I'm going to dive into the live right now. And as I said, that tomorrow we are celebrating Mother's Day. Many countries in the world, not all, many countries in the world look at the second Sunday of May as a celebration of an honor or gratitude, a day of gratitude for mothers. And many restaurants are fully booked, they jam-packed. Shops are really having a lot of sales usually, as well as the queues are endless because that's the nature of Mother's Day. Now, there's two streams of thought to this, and I don't know where you are sitting in terms of that. Some do believe that it is rather commercialized, okay, because this tends to be far more about gifting nowadays than the real value that's attached to Mother's Day. Well, whereas others believe that mothers should be honored on a regular basis rather than just having one day dedicated in the year to it. So also that's an interesting view, and you can tell me, I welcome your comments on that. You could tell me, where do you stand? What is your mindset around that? I'll tell you mine in a minute. So when we look at commercialism, I love gifts, and I think many of us do. But what I would value far more than a monetary gift would be ongoing gratitude and respect. And I think for many of us, if you have to weigh it out as to say whether this is one day that I'm going to buy a gift and share with my mom, and then the rest of the year there's going to be, or for many months, there's going to be that void, what would you prefer? As a mom, and as a daughter myself, I would rather say that I'd forgo that gift, that monetary attachment to that gift, and rather have that continuous relationship or that bond that is on a regular basis with my mother. And for my children, I would appreciate that more than just a gift. So that's my personal view. Although I also believe that Mother's Day is a nice calendar event for us to mindfully celebrate our mothers. And this mothers, it does not really mean just the biological side of it, but also those who have played a valuable role in your life. And that could be elder siblings also. It could be an elder sister, it could be an aunt, it could be a grandmother, it could be a teacher. I know teachers are greatly honored as mothers also. It could be a caregiver, it could be an au pair who's been in the process of actually helping you grow, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that we just honor our biological mother. So going into the depth of that, I've just said that there's two streams of thought there. And please, I once again, I see there's a good few people with me on Just Tell Me Who You Are, and drop a comment also. During this lockdown, it's given us great time to place value on what's important to us. I think when health has come to the forefront, and every day we're looking at numbers and we're looking at statistics, not only in South Africa, but around the world, we're finding ourselves also becoming extremely cautious in terms of our own health and wellness. We're finding ourselves becoming extremely cautious about caring for our family. And I think that time, and this has given us an opportunity to delve deeper into the meaningful relationships that we would like to grow, that we would like to actually nourish during this time. The time that has been offered to us now is invaluable. For many of us who are actually staying home during this pandemic, we have been offered a gift of time that hasn't been there for years, because we are on the hamster wheel of really, really stuck routines. So when it comes to that, then we can look at our relationships and we can say, okay, so this is what I need to work on. This is the relationships that really bring value to my life. And what does that mean? It means that you should actually put effort and endeavor in growing that. You should actually now look at ways to meaningfully connect, because we've now attached far more time and value in terms of our relationships. So this gives us the impetus to actually develop and create or nurture those strong bonds. Now, I know many people, as we grow, we somehow grow away from our little nest or our home that has been our nurturing spot. We have our own homes, we have our own families, and many of us imbibe the values that have come from our own parents. So our parenting style is very similar, it's very similar to the way that we have been raised. Now, of course, times have changed, so it may not really work as well as it has been. I welcome you to this live. Today we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about Mother's Day particularly, and how that is going to look and feel during this time of the pandemic, and how we're still going to celebrate and honor our mothers in a very, very different way. Just for those who are joining in the middle of my live this afternoon. So when we're looking at this deep, meaningful relationships, we're looking at creating and strengthening those bonds. What does that mean? Okay, it means that actually diving deep and seeing how you can actually grow in this. One of the things is ongoing gratitude over a once-off gift. Absolutely. Thanks for the comment, Michelle. I always believe that if something is far more constant, and I love using that word recently, when there's a consistency where it's constant love, it's constant care, it's constant respect, and it's mutual, it becomes valid. Right? It becomes far more engaging, where you feel your heart is also open to share. Your heart is open to forgive. And when there's that relationship between mother and child, and this could be in any relationship also, but when there are those aspects of respect, of value, of trust, of honor, and when it's continuous, then it would be far more, you'd feel that I'm being loved. So as a child, if you are one of those children who want to know, I'm sitting here in lockdown and I'm not going to be able to get to my mom tomorrow, if you are one of those, what difference can you make in terms of this Mother's Day. It's going to be if you can connect meaningfully with your mom tomorrow, or whoever that person may be, if you can reach out virtually to an aunt, to a grandmother, to somebody who's really provided that nurturing relationship or that nurturing care to you, do so. Even if it means that you haven't spoken to that person for years, that life has happened, you've moved on, you've had your family to raise, and you've been busy with your career. Tomorrow, make that added effort to actually reach out to that person and show gratitude. Make this a time for change where you now are going to be mindfully engaging in your relationship with your mom or your dad, that could be, or whoever holds that space in your heart at the moment, to grow that relationship in terms of offering them gratitude on a regular basis. Let me tell you why, and I know, Michelle, that you're a mom also, because when your children or when our children see us do that in a meaningful way, what happens? You have set the tone for yourself. So I cannot possibly expect my daughters to give me that kind of value or that kind of honor as a mom if I don't positively display it to my parents. Now, many of us have had fallouts with our parents, okay? Some people have not really connected in a deep way with their parents for various reasons over time. And that actually needs to change. You know, forgiveness is a huge step in the healing process. Forgiveness is a part of your own healing. Many people that I've spoken to or work with understand that sometimes our own childhood, we have that baggage that we carry with us into our adult lives. And that could be a mistake at different levels. However, in order to grow, in order to heal, and in order to feel that love that you can exude and that you would expect from your own children and your own family, you need to be able to offer that kind of forgiveness to wherever or whatever may have happened in the past. This time is actually a good time to heal. It's a good time to offer that value to those kind of relationships, especially parental relationships. And as I said, one of the main reasons, if you need any inspiration to do that and take that step tomorrow, if you need any inspiration to do that and make amends or build those bridges again, then understand that your child is watching you, and how you value your relationship with your elders is actually what they're going to learn from. So that kind of respect is coming from you. Right? So when we look at the Mother's Day also, I'm looking at continuous gratitude. We're looking at offering gratitude every day for those people. It doesn't have to be physically picking up the phone all the time, but having that kind of respect, having that kind of love, keeping that connection, building those foundations if they have been broken for whatever reason it may be. That attitude of gratitude in your life is going to be invaluable. Also for yourself, for the relationship that you're nurturing, for that relationship that you want to develop again, for your parents if they are older, and as actually a marker or something for you to teach your child. We're also looking at, and I'd like to spend a few minutes to look at those mums who have lost a child during this year. It's very difficult, you know, during the past year to have a Mother's Day when you've lost a child and it's your first Mother's Day perhaps without that child. It's difficult. We look at those who are trying to have a baby, who have not been successful yet due to medical reasons. And we also would like to be mindful of that during Mother's Day. And especially if we have relatives, if we have friends who may be in that situation, offer them some sort of love. Reach out to those people that you may know. Tomorrow, especially on this day, being very highly sensitive for them, reach out. If you know somebody, a friend of yours who's been trying to have a baby, somebody who may have lost a child during the past year, reach out and show a little compassion tomorrow. Those who cannot get to their mums, many of us tomorrow may not be able to physically get to our mums tomorrow, and also those who have lost a mum during this year. So it works both ways, for children and for parents alike. Tomorrow may also be a very trying day. As much as there's pomp and there's celebration and there's lots of love, but maybe it's also for us to reach out to those people who need us a little bit more. So make that call, send that text, offer just a little bit more compassion to those people who may need it tomorrow. I see there are a few people. Please drop me a comment, as I've said, and tell me what you are planning to do and how are you coping during this time when we are at home trying to stay safe. So when we look at understanding these celebrations and understanding these relationships and understanding how we would like to grow over this period, I'd like to also chat to mums on this live. Okay, so we're talking about children. I've just spoken about that and how we need to forgive our parents, how we need to reconnect, how we need to reestablish those firm foundations. And in that way, we're going to be setting the tone for our families. But if you're a mom, right? If you're a mom on this live, here's something for you. So you also, as old or as young as you are, I'm grateful to still be able to have my mom, who's very much a part of my life on a daily basis, and she's very much a part of my children's life on a daily basis too. So if you're a mom, and no matter how old you are or as young as you may be, this is something really, really important for you. Understand and respect individuality. That is so super important. And what happens in many of the homes or in many of the parental relationships is that when there's sibling comparison, and as old as I am, I have siblings also, but when there's sibling comparison, they somehow also causes a sort of a feud or a sort of a despondency, if I want to use that word, within the relationship of parent and child. So if you're a mom, be mindful. Respect every child as an individual, right? There should be no comparison, whether your child is a schoolgoer, whether your child is in the corporate world. There should never be a comparison. And I think that's where most of parental relationships with their children actually go in an unhappy way, where there's a comparative study between children or siblings. The next one I would like to actually offer mums on this live, or whoever's watching the replay, is to celebrate successes instead of offering criticism. It's easy because as mums, we feel that we are the figures of authority, which is correct, but rather reframe that and say that my child looks upon me for affirmation, right? My child looks upon me for some sort of validation or confirmation because I'm the mom. So how do I do that? Instead of criticizing a child, rather celebrate their successes, look at their strengths. And this, yet again, you may think it could be a piece of information or advice for somebody who's a schoolgoer, but you would be surprised, even if you're an older mom watching, you would be surprised that your older child may be really, really, really feeling very warm when you celebrate their success, when you offer that word of congratulations, when you offer that word of praise. That may be all that they need. So I see that there are a few people watching yet again. Tell me who you are, where in the world you are, and what does Mother's Day look like for you tomorrow under the pandemic. So here's a few ways that we can still celebrate and honor our moms as best as we can during this time, even under the difficult circumstances. Okay, so number one, as we know, we're looking at virtual reality at the moment. Many of us are online, we are on calls, we are on video calls, and we've somehow gotten to the new norms of everything, where we're looking at making that virtual connection. So virtually, we're going to make that connection. We're also going to try and make that connection for those who may need us a little bit more. As I've said earlier, that compassionate side of you, you're going to reach out and actually say, okay, Perhaps my neighbors lost a child during this year. Perhaps I know a friend who may be feeling really sad today because she was hopeful to have a baby this year and it just didn't work out. So those things, please be mindful of and make that difference. When you make that call and when you make that connection, hi, my friend, and when you make that connection to that person, you may never know. For you, it may be something so small, but you may never know what a difference and what an uplifting call it may be to the next person. I know, and I've seen a few of those of you who are on the live with me have had difficult years. Of the year that's passed has been very difficult, and I think losing a child, the grief of losing a child, cannot be compared. And as much as we look forward to these days, it also is a sad day in many homes. And if we are in a fortunate position, to still have our mom, let's reach out to somebody who may not have their mom. If we are still in a position to have our children, let's reach out to somebody who may not have their child here with them. So that could be a real blessing as we go on in terms of looking at nurturing relationships. So let's connect virtually. Something else, that is so great that I've witnessed over time, over this particular period, is that we are all connecting as a group somehow. Whether it's at work, you have your different apps and your different meetings that's going on with social distancing and so on. So in a simple app like WhatsApp or like Zoom, you could make a time where it could be family getting together as you would normally do over a Mother's Day lunch or Mother's Day breakfast, and just set up a meeting request with your siblings in their different homes, with your mom, and do that. Make it fun and make it creative, where you could still, very much like this, virtually see everybody else and just chat over it, and take it a step further. And this is really cool and creative. Take it a step further where you could write down a little gratitude that you'd like to offer all the mums within whoever's going to be on that call. Okay, and somehow when we look at these occasions like Mother's Day or Father's Day or any other occasion, we'd love to get together and eat and be merry and so on. But that offering of gratitude, those words of love, do not come. We may offer a gift, we may have a meal together, and that's it. This opportunity during this lockdown or quarantine may give you, or is allowing you, to actually use the power of words, right? And words can be super powerful. Use the power of words to make that connection. Use the power of words to express that love, where you are going to say, okay, even if it means you're writing down a sentence or two. For some of us, it may not be so easy, but you can write down a sentence or two, and on your group call, on your group scheduled video call, you're then going to say, and as a part of your meeting request, you can actually say, let's all of us get 3 sentences or something simple together, where we'd like to write as a card would have it, but we could actually share it on that call. And it could be to anybody there. It could be to our children even. Maybe we want to spin this around and we want to actually love our children and offer them some sort of extra love tomorrow on this call. So that's a really, really nice way to still celebrate, but the difference is we're going to celebrate it in a far more deeper and meaningful way. The next one that I'd like to share with you, and something that we can do within our homes under lockdown, which I'm going to be doing tomorrow, is actually sharing stories from your childhood to your children. We generally don't have the time to do that for various reasons. So when we share the stories of our childhood with our children, we're actually sharing a bit of their history with them. When we're looking at that, hello, I see there's a couple of highs coming my way. When we share, some sort of our history with them, we don't generally have that kind of time to do that generally. So it could be, tomorrow could be a really nice time to say, in terms of, I know what I want to talk about tomorrow. You know, I've been blessed to have my mom, as I say, still with us. And I would like to share a story of my childhood with my daughters, about both my grandmothers, my maternal and paternal, who are no longer here. They have not had the opportunity to meet them, which would be their great grands. So I would like to share tomorrow and dedicate that to spend some time with them and give them a sort of history behind the women of my life. You know, many of us are shaped by our history. And that is true. So if our children don't understand where those value systems are coming up from, then we are not going to be able to actually, they are not going to have the knowledge or the power of the knowledge of their roots. So that's something you can do, but I will be writing this in a blog post, which will be up on my page tomorrow, Sankalpa Coaching with Krishangi Radhe. They're really cool tips and super easy to implement under this times of quarantine or lockdown. So that's it for my life this evening, in terms of growing those relationships, nurturing those relationships, offering time. Forgiveness, okay, is a big one, and reaching out to those who need that little love and compassion and care tomorrow. So if you haven't already joined the Positive Parenting group that I have on my page, please do so. I will put the link in the comments below. And you may request to join that group. There's tons of information about parenting, about being, it's only for women, so it's only for moms. There's lots of information, there's lots of PDF files, and there's lots of, it's a great group of women who are growing in the parenting journey together. So if you haven't managed to catch the beginning, I see that there are a few comments coming through. If you haven't managed to catch the beginning, then you're welcome to go back. You have to catch it from the beginning so you'd know what we're speaking about, and understand how to make those relationships more meaningful, especially those with our parents and especially those with our children during this time of lockdown. So if there's no other comments or questions, I'm going to hop off this live. I will save it on my page, as I've said. I will also drop a link under the comments to my calendar. So if you would like to book a 20-minute session, clarity and vision session, I will drop my calendar link below, also under the comments section of this live video. So please do comment, tell me where in the world you've watched from, and do share, so that we could spread a little extra love over this period of crisis and during Mother's Day. That's it from me, Krishangi Radhe. We will talk soon.